figures are getting detained at airports for hours following Donald Trump's proposed travel ban. Now, interestingly enough, one of those people included Muhammad Ali's son, Muhammad Ali Jr., who was detained for hours along with his mom. Now, he spoke to MSNBC about what occurred. Apparently, he was flying back to the United States after traveling to Montego Bay to do a public appearance in Jamaica. And when he landed in Fort Lauderdale, he ran into a little bit of trouble. Take a look.
Start with you. What exactly happened on that day in the Florida airport?
Well, I got off the plane, and I was going to we was going to baggage claim, and the guy from immigration pulled me aside and asked me my name. I was like, okay, my name is Muhammad Ali, Muhammad Ibn Ali, and he asked me, what is your religion? And I was like, why would you even ask me what my religion is? Do it matter? So he asked me, and I said, I'm a Muslim. And it was like he didn't believe me because he took me in the back room and asked me the same questions again. So I answered him, and I was like, oh, what is this all about? I mean, you know, what's going on? So he was like, oh, we're checking something. And so I was like, okay, but I was waiting for like an hour and 45 minutes for you to check something. So I'm like, I got other things to do. Where's my mother at, you know? I'm just kind of worried about her. What's going on with her? I didn't know.
Khalilah, you were held for a shorter period of time, but you were held. Do you believe it was because of your name or questioning your religion?
It was outrageous. This has never happened to me ever. Being in the United States, I felt very uncomfortable. Now, this has never happened to me before, and I was concerned about Muhammad because I made a statement to the officer that this was my son and we're traveling together. And when they separated us, then that set a red flag with me, and I was wondering, why did they do that?
So this happened on February 7th, and more details are coming out about what occurred, but apparently airport security refuses to release any information or details about it. They're like, you know.
Yeah, they want to protect the privacy of, they say, protect the privacy of the people they detain. I'm sure that's it.
They're on TV.
There's a lot. There's my favorite part of the story, in a landslide, well, first of all, is her jacket.
Yeah, her jacket's pretty amazing.
Pretty special. Chris Mancini, a family friend and lawyer, claimed that officials held and questioned Ali Jr. for nearly 2 hours, repeatedly asking him, where did you get your name from? His name is Muhammad Ali Jr. Let's think. Where could he have gotten that name from? I don't know. I can't come up with anything. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Where do you think he got it from?
Well, and
you claim your name is Bob Stevens Jr. Where did that come from?
Where did that come from?
Very likely Bob Stevens Sr.
Yeah. Like,
by the way, he has a U.S. passport. Like, I don't know what the issue is. He's not a citizen of a different country. He's from the United States. So I don't know why they were giving him such a tough time. He's a U.S. citizen.
You know why they were giving him such a tough time.
Well, yeah, we do know why they were giving him a tough time. But the point is, it doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen or not. If you support discriminatory policy, well, then you're going to get profiled regardless of what your immigration status is or regardless of what your citizenship is.
No, this actually, we kid around, but this is actually a super serious story because it isn't about a celebrity's son and who, that part of the story is not relevant. What's relevant is that they pulled the guy aside, obviously, because of his religion. They're the ones who said it. They asked him several times, are you Muslim? Are you Muslim? They're trying to, and with a name like Muhammad Ali, the answer is likely yes, right? Mm-hmm. And he's absolutely right. First of all, he did answer it, but he didn't have to answer it. It's a constitutional right of ours that is not an issue in this country. If you don't understand that, you are deeply un-American. Now, the travel ban is already put on hold, so it shouldn't even apply if he was from the 7 banned countries. But he's not. He's from a mysterious place called Philadelphia. That's where he was born. He's got a U.S. passport. He's coming back into the country. He went for a business trip to Jamaica to do an appearance, and he comes back. So does that mean that every Muslim American should be worried about going abroad? That if they come back, and in fact, Mancini, the lawyer, says it was because he had an Arabic-sounding name. So you might not even be Muslim, which, by the way, also happened. But you've got a name that sounds questionable to some dude at an airport, and now that's what we're doing in America. we're checking documents,
Right,
and we're
well-
holding people up for hours on end
stupid.
on the suspicion that they might be Muslim, which is not a thing. That's not, you can't, that's like I thought you might be a Jew, so I held you for a couple hours. Jesus, that's what we're doing now?
And we saw it in the flight from San Francisco to JFK, and they claim that they do that all the time with Customs Border Patrol agents asking everybody for their documentation before they get off the plane. Last week, again, the flight was from San Francisco to JFK. You can't stop people from getting off the plane. You can't do it, man. You don't ask for papers in this country. And so now the bleed over, because the ban has been held up, thankfully, by the courts, but the aggressive immigration sweeps haven't. And, you know, for purposes of harassing people or harassing people, depending on which way you want to go, based on their religion or look, either one of them is given carte blanche to these guys to slow down people's lives and ask questions like, are you Muslim? Where did you get your name? Where are you from?
And by the way, if I don't know how many members of our audience hate Muslims, right? But if you do and you're like, whatever, I'm fine with this. Yeah, Muslims should be scrutinized like this. Keep in mind that this is going to impact everyone. It just impacted a French historian who was traveling to the U.S. to give a speech at Texas A&M. Okay, this is a scholar by the name of Henry Rousseau. He was born in Egypt, but he's a citizen of France. And according to reports, let's go to graphic 13, Rousseau, an Egyptian-born French citizen, was mistakenly detained by U.S. immigration authorities, according to Richard Golsan, director of the Glasscock Center for Humanities Research at Texas A&M. I apologize for being a child. Henry Rousseau also tweeted the following: I confirm I've been detained 10 hours at Houston International Airport. 10 hours, yeah, at Houston International Airport, about to be deported. The officer who arrested me was inexperienced. So the university actually sprang into action, and they got one of the lawyers on campus to deal with this, and they miraculously got him to come to the U.S. and give the speech that he was supposed to give at Texas A&M. But this is crazy. This is crazy.
The president of Texas A&M, that's a big-time, serious position in Texas, had to get the ball rolling there. Most people don't get the president of Texas A&M because they're not coming in to speak at Texas A&M, and they're just going to get deported because of an inexperienced officer.
Now, I mentioned rhetorically, it could even happen if you're Jewish. Well, it turns out it's literal. Henry Rousseau is Jewish. So he was born in Egypt. There's Christians in Egypt. There's Jews in Egypt. There's plenty of different religions in Egypt.
And Egypt is not part of the travel ban, by the way. It's not one of the Muslim-majority countries that was named in the travel ban.
Yeah, because who the hell knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, or unless you believe that story, that it is true that Trump doesn't have business dealings with any of the 7 countries in the ban, and he does have with countries, similar countries that weren't banned. We don't know
Like
that
Saudi
that's why.
Arabia.
Right, and Egypt.
Okay, so it gets better or worse depending on your perspective. Rousseau is a scholar in the Holocaust. And so the phrase that he is best known for is the past that does not pass. And that is exactly what's happening here. So he warns to never forget what happens, and fellow historians today are noting the, quote, uncomfortable irony of the arbitrary detention of a Holocaust historian, and how he was coming to also, by the way, present on Vichy France, and how they collaborated in asking for papers and then turning over Jews in France. So now here's this Jewish historian held up because they think he might be Muslim. Now, in this case, for 10 hours, I guess that they were trying to figure out what. He's not from a banned country. The ban doesn't exist anymore. So what would you figure out? If you deduced that he was in fact Muslim, would you then say, okay, we don't like Muslims in America? That would be deeply unconstitutional. Whatever, I'm going to send you back. Oh, no, you are a favored religion as opposed to a disfavored religion, and you get to stay. Oh, you have powerful friends, you get to stay. How many people did they do this to that we have no idea of because they're not a famous boxer's son or a famous professor?
That's why it matters to cover Muhammad Ali Jr. and Henry Rousseau.
And by the way, when they ask you if you're Muslim, there is no good answer. Because, okay, if they ask me, no, I'm agnostic. What does that mean? Well, I was born into a Muslim family, but I don't believe. Oh, so you were Muslim. What? Okay, but that's what happened.
Why
There's no
should-
good answer, but I wasn't trying to hide that from you. You asked me what it was, right?
Also,
For Rousseau, they're like, so what? I don't know if they asked him about his religion, but like Ali, I mean, there's a reason why they happened to stop the guy who was born in Egypt. If they asked him about his religion, and I'm very curious about that, and they should ask, if he says, I'm Jewish, oh, you're from Egypt, and you're Jewish. There's no good answer. There's not an answer
look.
you can give where they go, oh, you're right, my bad. Go ahead, go on through.
Innocent
Doesn't seem
people
like it.
shouldn't even be put in a situation where they have to answer those types of questions. Okay? Why are we having to deal with interrogations just because we want to travel? And that's the part of it that frustrates me so much. Americans willingly gave up certain, privileges, rights, whatever you want to call it, right? Just so they can support hatred, just because they hate the others so much. They don't even realize how much it's going to impact them as well, right? You want to travel? You're going to have to deal with this kind of crap. You never know. You never know whether or not they're going to pull you aside because you might look a little funny to them. Doesn't matter how innocent you are. Doesn't matter if you're a U.S. citizen. Doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Muslim, Christian, whatever. You are giving your freedoms away because you hate the others so much. That's the part of it that drives me crazy. You hate the Mexicans so much. You hate the Muslims so much. You think you're above all of them. But this is the kind of freedom that you're giving up, and it's going to come back and haunt your ass as well.
Support independent media and get the whole Young Turks 2-hour show and other network shows all ad-free. tytnetwork.com/join. Come join us today.